Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, Angel, welcome back. Or maybe, I don't know where this airs, maybe not just on my channel, but how are you and how's your life in this dunya after 4 years of becoming a Muslim?
Alhamdulillah, bro. It has been, you know how it is. Nothing is ever like just perfect. Nothing's ever static. It's ups and downs, but alhamdulillah. How about you, bro?
Alhamdulillah, I just remembered the last time we spoke, the last thing I told you that we should die on this deen or something like this. So
Hmm.
hopefully we just keep on that Sirat al-Mustaqim and see what happens.
Yeah, inshallah.
Regardless of life's challenges in this dunya.
Yeah, it's been 4 years, bro. So we're
Mm.
still going strong, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
So
Uh,
how has that been for you?
a lot of growth, to be honest. Yeah, a lot of things changed since my last, I guess, catch up. Like I'm the imam now, which is strange. So I build a masjid, and I build a community. We have 50 Muslims, alhamdulillah.
Allahumma barik.
Um, Raised 40,000, so we were able to fundraise some of this stuff, and it's just different. I have family now. I'm building families, so I'm doing nikahs, and we're building like communities here. I'm in Slovakia, so we're marrying reverts. So now they are having babies. So it's great. Like I have this vision of for my babies how they are gonna be even better than me because they'll grow up with Islam, which is completely new. I have a vision of Islamic Center. I have it printed on my wall. I'm looking at it right now. AI designed it that's because right now we're in a rented place. It's a big place, but it's rented, and I want to have a proper building with like solid architectures, inshallah.
Do you want to keep that low key or do you want to show me?
Uh, my laptop is broken, so I'm afraid it will break. It's just a simple. It's
Oh la la, that's beautiful, bro.
it's just so it doesn't so it's not like an Arabic or Turkish masjid, but it kind of reflects our architecture or culture, whatever.
Hmm.
First of its kind.
Hmm.
So, anyways, big dreams. We'll see what happens. If Allah wills it, it will happen. If Allah doesn't will it, it won't happen. So, but yeah, it's been good stuff. Like I'm in weird positions in the dunya. And it all started by me becoming a Muslim. If I didn't become a Muslim, none of this would happen. So it's very strange life.
SubhanAllah, bro.
And second kid on the way. It's crazy stuff.
May Allah grant you more.
Inshallah, aiming for
I
more.
mean,
There's
I
no,
mean,
there's no, like when I was non-Muslim, I always had fear of kids. Like more kids, I don't want to have kids. I always had this fear because of responsibility. And now I'm just like, yeah, let them come more. Like I don't care. Like three, four, five, we'll handle.
yeah, inshallah. So, bro, how did this happen? Like you becoming the imam?
Just random, organic, nothing planned. Basically, just me and one other guy, we just didn't have a place to pray in my city. So I was just like, let's rent this place as an office first. Got like 5 or 7 guys in, and then slowly we outgrew the place, bought a carpet, and then we were like, we need to another place. We moved to a bigger place, and then last Ramadan, we were like, this is not even enough. We didn't have a place to pray, so let's move to a bigger place. So now we have a big, like 80 meter square, 100, so it's quite solid now. We have our own toilets now. We have our own kind of places. We have mimbar. We've built mimbar from like minbar where the imam stands. So like we have people in the masjid who like have company, so one guy just crafted the minbar for us, the other guy did that. They would just kind of like sell. Everybody just wanted to do it, and I'm just the imam, meaning that I do the Juma, and I'm there. So I know everybody's kind of like in the community, but I'm not really
Mhm.
knowledgeable. Like it's just accidental imam by necessity, but I for this project I want to bring in like an actual qualified person, but we just don't have the money because they need salary, they need a place to stay. It
Mhm.
was just a
Mhm.
startup, but still, alhamdulillah, we saved a lot of money and we have it. So we'll go like this for next 2 years maybe, and then if Allah brings us more, we'll expand, of course.
SubhanAllah. So, has it made you want to start seeking even more knowledge?
Um, I have a cap on knowledge, so
Really?
I know. my brain, I'm more of a like in a business guy. I'm more like a practical type of guy in
Mm,
the sense where I don't read a lot of books and I don't like theory that much. I like to be in the real world. So I did read a lot of Akida books, a lot of fiqh. I have my own madhab now. I didn't create it. I joined the madhab. Like I'm so I basically I got into the madhabs. I went to Umrah. I had my renewed intention. The intention is all over the place. I had to renew it because this can actually be like really bad for me if I don't have a good niyyah. So yeah, I did what I could. So I'm a Hanafi madhab, and all that stuff. So I kind of categorize myself, which I think happens around the year 3 or 4, where you kind of stop being this revert with no structure, but you kind of
mm,
figure out a way you want to not pray, but like, okay, I think I'm gonna go this way more rather than this way. So I just did that, but I'm nowhere. I just have basic. So like if I'm speaking with Muslims, I can just pick up where are they coming from in terms of Islamic background, like what school of thought are they talking about when just after 2 sentences you can kind of get. So that's what all my knowledge is now, and some tajweed, reading Arabic, of course. We can read, but I'm not great. So, but there are people who are more knowledgeable, but they just don't have, let's say, manager structure. Like they can't organize community, right? Because
mm.
you can have a lot of knowledge, but it's not necessary here. We need like just the grounds up work and bring in the knowledge then. So right now for this level, it's fine, but it's gonna not be fine in the future. Yeah.
So what made you choose the Hanafi?
It's just the most practical because we couldn't run Juma in Maliki Madhab or in something like that because there's rules. And for example, one of the rules is that you cannot have a rented place, it's invalid, or you have to have at least 20 people in the Juma, and we didn't have it. So it would kind of like make it invalid. These are like
Mm,
fard conditions in the Maliki Madhab. Or there would be other kind of conditions on just practicality of like we're living in a country where Islam is not recognized even, so it's not even a masjid. So we need to, and the Hanafi madhab was like 3 people, it's fard, so you need three. Which is like okay, that makes sense. And it's just more practical, and the more access we have because it's the biggest madhab in the world, so you have the most amount of knowledge easily accessible in English. It's just more practical from that sense. So there was no, and choosing a madhab is just about practicality, to be honest, because it's not the truth. You're just, you have this great imam, let's say Abu Hanifa or Imam Malik or Shafi'i, and they just distill the knowledge and you kind of practice it.
mm.
But all of them were right. It's just like for us here, it would make sense to go with the Hanafi. But my second, like co-founder, let's say he's a Maliki and no issues. Like it's fine. Like we have no issues. It's just it was my decision. It's not like I apply it to people. They have their own things.
Yeah, but did you make the choice based on like the entire masjid, or was it like first you made that choice for yourself?
First, me, I was at Umrah, so I made that choice there. Yeah.
So what did you research and what did you learn about the different schools of thoughts?
Well, I basically joined a couple of programs, and I just got like an overview of like, okay, different schools in Islam and different ways to interpret like what's actually Ahl Sunnah. Like you have different opinions. I don't want to get into the debate because it's really toxic. So I just wasn't attracted to that toxicity. I just wanted to know like, okay, what is actually happening. So I just wanted to know like what's the actual creed of Abu Hanifa or what's the creed of Imam Malik. Like they are the Salaf, right? So and it just made sense. Like they just have different methodologies. So like Abu Hanifa was looking more at like, and even Imam Malik was prioritizing the practice of Sahaba against the Hadith. So even the Hadith, if Hadith is strong, it doesn't matter for Imam Malik. He's looking at how the Sahaba practice in Medina because he lived there right after, I think, I don't know what generation, but I think it was the second or third. So he was basically making rulings based on those actual happening in Medina, not based on some hadiths, which, for example, Hanbali just prioritizes the hadiths, right? And they don't look at the practice actually. So different ways of looking at evidences you have. So you just have to look at like, and Abu Hanifa wasn't even living in Medina. He was in, what's it called? It's now Iraq, but he was like living actually when Sahaba migrated and majority of them left Medina, and he was living outside, and he was looking how they are practicing. So It's all
Mm.
about like word, and you know they were different Sahaba than the Sahaba there. So it's like so complex really to unpack. But basically, yeah, I just started to look at like yeah, how to get like knowledge. Why do you need a madhab? Why it's not like a sect, but like it's actually practically really cool because like I'm on a plane, you know, I'm flying, and then some people say you can merge two, yeah, like you can merge Asr and Dhuhr, let's say, in one prayer. And in Hanafi, that's not allowed, right? Or it's not allowed to put your like you have to put your face on the floor in the Hanafi madhab. And that's not a requirement for other madhab. So in some sense, it's easier in some ways and it's more difficult in some ways where I'm flying to Mecca. I have to plane. I'm like I have to pray, so I like have to pray like on the plane. I can't sit down in Hanafi madhab, or it's like not recommended. So it's just you pick a madhab, but there's some things, and you can't madhab shop, right? So if I picked Hanafi, I'm just gonna do whatever I can there, and maybe in the future I'll change. You know, it's not like I'm there forever. It's just for
Mm.
now where I am in my life. It works for me. But it wasn't like an investigation I did for a lot of months. I just spent a couple of days kind of looking at it, and there were a couple of issues where I was like, okay, this is key issues for me. Juma, key issues are here, and I'm just gonna make practical decision because all of them are right. It's just what's the access to knowledge and how practical it is in my environment. If I was in
Mhm.
Saudi, I would be Hanbali probably. You know,
So what kind of changes have you actually, noticed in your own life compared to having no madhab and then having a madhab now?
it's just easier because whatever question you have, like if you have a question about like practical question about something with children or something with marriage or something like that, you don't go to like Google and ask what does Islam say, but you say what does Hanafi madhab say about this, and that specifies it much more. So you get more
Mm.
specific, basically answer. And even within the madhab, you have many differences of opinion, but it's not as big as with others. So like if I would compare, for example, can I pray my Asr and Dhuhr, and let's say these guys would say no, it's completely haram. The other guys would say no, actually, this is fine. So I'm confused as a reader. Like, what's happening here? You claim Islam is one, but this seems to be some confusion. It's just the madhab approach is evidences differently. So they prioritize, for example, the practice of Sahaba, and these guys prioritize Hadith, and it's fine. Both of them are correct because there were both cases in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he did it like this. They look at different evidence. It's just it's actually quite simple. It's just people sometimes have hard. I don't think you have to choose a madhab as a river. Like I'm not gonna ever say that. I just think it's more practical. The longer you go with Islam, it just makes life easier. So I just can go to my Hanafi sheikh and I just know how to do. And if I pray, I know how they pray. It's just much
Mhm.
easier things. Same with every madhab. So yeah, but anyways, yeah, like you're living in the US somewhere, or I'm in Slovakia, like it's just for your own benefit. It's
Mhm.
nothing you're gonna do
Mhm.
for anyone else. It's just
Yeah.
making your life easier a
It's
bit.
interesting because I don't have a madhab, right? We're both reverts. We've both been reverted for the same amount of time. And now I've just been focusing more so on the tazkiyah aspect, right? Like the purification of the soul and nafs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to know what other reverts are on.
So you have like your fiqh, which is this madhab stuff. Then you have your uh Akida in terms of like Allah's attributes and stuff like that. And then you have like the spiritual thing, like your
Ihsan.
yeah. And so like that's like key. That's like three in one. You can't like separate each of them. And just Tazkiyah and all these like purification stuff, they just codify, same like madhabs codify practical stuff in Islam. They codify spiritual stuff because there have to be some boundaries because there are people who are Christians who have spiritual experiences or they're seeing jinns. Like, does that mean they're like task like they're at high levels of purification? Maybe in some weird sense, but if it's not in the boundaries of Sharia and fiqh, it's out of Islam, and this is not going to help them. Unfortunately, it's actually confusing them. So because spiritual experiences are there for everybody, right? So it's like spiritual experiences exist, but you should get into them once you have a very firm like, okay, I understand Islamic
Yeah.
boundaries. What is Islam? What's not Islam? And I have my fiqh here. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
distill.
yeah.
I had a crazy dream like 2 weeks ago, like super, I'm in Akhira already, like insane stuff. And I was like, even my friend was like, hey, these spiritual experiences that are like real, like, and I believe it's real, like you have to still filter it through Sharia and the Quran and Sunnah. Because like what if it's from Shaitan? Like you never know. So
Yeah,
like
no, 100%.
uh, and if it's not, it will fall into the boundary. So but the people who don't have this uh, base, they can really go off the rails. And this happens, for example, with some of the Sufi tariqat where they just went very extreme. They didn't
Yeah.
have the Sharia in place. So I'm saying, yeah, do it all. You don't really need them to be honest, because sometimes uh, these experiences are tricky. Like even I think yesterday I was talking to my friend and he said the more knowledge you have, the less of these experiences you're gonna get. Um, so it's like some of the greatest scholars never had any of those. And there's not a reason like they didn't need them. And sometimes it helps you, sometimes it scares you. So it's like it depends where you are.
Yeah, yeah.
My experience from like 2 weeks ago was really shocking. And yeah, I mean, but I kind of forgot about it, but it stayed with me for like 3 days. I couldn't like really comprehend what happened. But I'm not saying like I'm seeking these things now. I don't want them, but it just I'm not deciding like these things can happen to anyone. But it's just like what's taskia? You know what's like more important? Forgiving your father that he abandoned you as a child and giving him
Precisely. Yeah,
that's gonna
precisely.
destroy your nafs because you wanna like revenge and then you forgive and give him money. That's crazy to a non-Muslim. Or I don't know, doing something like that. Whoa, that hurts your nafs, and then
Hmm.
comes the feeling that's better. That's like 100,000 more reward than being in masjid and doing some dhikr. That's fine as well. But this is different level. So
Hmm.
I'm seeking those things. Like how can I destroy my nafs? So I'm no
Yeah,
longer
yeah.
like caring about myself that much because I'm still caring about what I want. And I'm sick of it a bit. So I'm just and it goes back to purification of Nia and all that. So it's fun game and I think it's essential. Like without that, there's no like yeah, there's no substance in Islam then. So I think that's
Yeah,
like key. But
yeah. And bro, I just want to reemphasize, like, I'm not looking for that stuff. It's
yeah.
just for me, a spiritual experience now is having that connection with Allah,
Mm,
feeling like that blissful state and having the khushu in the prayer.
yeah.
Like for me, that's the spiritual thing, and that's where I'm trying to get back to. That's what I feel like I lost, and I'm trying to get back to that, inshallah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think it's you go back you go back and you go up and down, but you never lose your convictions like your iman when it's strong. So like let's say, yes, that feeling can go up and down, but your iman, like in the Hanafi madhab, they say it doesn't go up and down. It's like you either believe in Islam or you don't. You're either a Muslim or a kafir. There's nothing else. So that stays the same. It's just the flame. Sometimes it's brighter and sometimes it's not, but still the flame. There's still iman in your heart, even if you feel
Hmm.
like, I'm not feeling it in these prayers or it's not the same. But you know you still have your baseline. You still believe the prophet was a prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You still believe the Quran is from Allah and all these things. That's the basic. That's your protection against Jahannam. That's everything basically. That's the key. So yeah, do you have any
So
other questions maybe like anything uh, I don't know.
yeah, no, I mean the questions they can come for days, bro, because I'm just curious as another reaver, like have you experienced the same things that I have? And
Yeah.
in terms of like waswas, because everyone gets waswas,
Mm.
right? And you were talking about iman, yeah, iman just now, and you were saying how you either believe or you don't believe, but that it's like a fire, and sometimes it's very strong, sometimes it's very,
The Hanafi
you know,
explanation, there's different ones, so I just gave you.
yeah. So, in your experience so far, in the past 4 years,
Mm.
have you had those moments where the was is just like so much that in that moment it's like, bro, you have thoughts in your head where when you reflect back on them, you're just like what the hell was that?
Well, it depends if it's about sins, then of course, I mean that's happening daily. And I have to like protect myself against myself and shaitan. But I'm not sure if you mean like that type of thing, like was to sin, like to go do that stuff that you're not supposed to do, or to have like shubuhat or doubts about something. So it really depends what exactly do you mean, you know?
I mean, waswas can take on the form of many things. For instance, I know some brothers who are reverts
Mm,
and some brothers who are born Muslims.
mm,
And they asked me the question, like, bro, do you ever doubt Islam?
mm.
And I don't doubt it, but I can definitely say that sometimes waswas can come in and definitely create narratives, like fake things that are going on. It can really play on the emotional aspect or what's happening in your life, like maybe something difficult could be happening in your life. And the was like, bro, you're praying, but Allah's not listening.
Yeah, it's just I think those things, the more knowledge you get on Akida and the way Allah's will work, the way His blessing works, so it doesn't matter if it works, if you're getting a dua or not, the more you kind of understand this from like let's say five greatest imams and just read basics Akida Tahawiyah or some of these books, you'll quickly understand how that works. And so I no longer I don't think I would be affected, even though it happens to me. But I just go back to like I know why these things happen, and it's just I'm not the first Muslim to ever experience these things. But it doesn't make untrue what I actually believe. It's just my own now this
Hmm.
personal experience I have, and also I think it's because I live in actual physical proximity to Muslims now, and we all share. We're all reverts here. We're all Slovak reverts around the same masjid, so
Oh,
we all share the
like,
same destiny and we have this sense of community. So we're kind of not always together, but we are in each other's lives. We know each other families. So um, just we set up our lives in a way where we're Muslims until we die. Whatever happens, like some of us is sometimes struggling, some of us not, but that's really important. The problem is if you're alone in your room somewhere and you never meet anyone, you maybe go for Juma. That's issue. Like that's really tough. I lived that for a couple of years, and it's like I couldn't. That's why I was like, I need to build this masjid. I need to get communities here. I need to convince people to make hijrah, which they did, so that I can survive, so we can all
mm,
survive. Because the Muslims are more powerful when they are together, and it's like we can share our lives together. Because then it's very difficult. If you just meet for Eid once, like it's not very effective then, and you just feel like you're surrounded by non-Muslims everywhere. And maybe you can make hijrah to Muslim country. Maybe that's an answer for some of this, but it's not an answer for me because I have this goal here that I'm working towards. But I understand if I was in another country, another context, I would made the hijrah maybe. I don't know. It really depends. I just went to
yeah,
Turkey.
no, no, no. I understand, bro.
But I just
You're
saw I
doing
saw I saw
you're doing a very
trends.
proper thing. Allahumma barik.
We'll see, inshallah. But when I was in Turkey like a few days ago, I was like, I just flew in and I just wanted to see a beach and I just went to the masjid. And then I'm looking at, and there's like a karaoke bar, and there's like trannies singing, like three, like Dixie Swallows was one of the. I'm like, what is going on? And it's like no shame, and like I'm like, this is happening here. This is not good. Like, so I was very disappointed. My iman dropped immediately, when I saw that. And the
Yeah,
Adan is in the background. I'm like, oh no,
yeah. I
that's
remember when I was in Turkey, I saw a lot of the evil eye, you
yeah,
know,
that's
the,
everywhere.
the little amulet thing.
Yeah.
And I remember I was passing by a shop, and bro, they're very aggressive. They're very aggressive with trying to sell you something. I hate that. I hate that so much. And they came to me, and he's like trying to sell me. I was like, listen, brother, I don't want anything, but I have a question. He's like, yes, yes. And I was like, why do you have this evil eye everywhere? You're selling this evil eye. Like you do know that this is shook, right? And he agreed. He knew that it was shook, but he was still selling it. And he tried to give me this whole explanation as to like why it's shook and that everyone they just don't know. It's misunderstanding. And then but I'm like, you didn't answer the question. Why are you selling it?
It's just culture or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea why these things exist.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah,
No, but what you're saying, this whole thing, you hit the nail on the head because it's when someone's alone that shaitan really comes in. You know, it's like the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall.
Mm,
And what shaitan does is he does everything possible to isolate you. SubhanAllah, bro.
mm,
I was watching this one YouTuber's video. His name's Hamza. I just randomly just came up on the thing because he made a new channel, and I was like, oh, let me just watch. And I watched literally just a minute of it. But he was saying that if you type in on ChatGPT, if you were the devil or if you were Shaitan, how would you weaken men like myself? Bro, what ChatGPT says, like that's exactly what Shaitan would do. And that's exactly what's happening in today's day and age. And one of the biggest things was isolation,
mm,
isolating people, making them be by themselves because he it's almost like he embellishes it. He makes it seem like it's so good for this person. Like, oh no, these people that are around you, they're not that good for you. Like, it's better to be by yourself.
yeah.
In some instances, yeah. But the longer you spend with yourself, the more you're opening yourself up to waswas. And when you don't have external feedback, when you don't have that good company around you, bro, it's just you and the waswas. And
Yeah.
in the
I know what
beginning, you could be strong, but eventually, like, something's gonna happen. It's like in the beginning, you can know, okay, this is waswas, this is waswas, this is waswas. But eventually, something will happen, and then now you no longer see the waswas as waswas. Now
yeah.
you see it as your own thinking. Now you're identifying with what is being said as if it's you saying it, but really it's the waswas, and you have no external feedback to let you know if what it is that you're
Yeah.
thinking, if what it is that you're doing, if that's actually on the right path.
I know, and then like I would drown myself in sin and I couldn't get out and I would just be worried. And then my sheikh told me like, Jan, you're stupid. Like if Allah's already forgiven you, forget about the sin and move on. I'm like, okay, great. Like that just like yes, that's my own thinking about this sin, making it the center of my life. Just forget about it. The more you
Hmm.
think about it, the more shaitan wins because he wants you to be like, oh no, I'm doing this stuff. Forget it, move on. Allah's forgiven you. Allah forgives all sins. So it's like, and that's true. That's true. So I'm like, I'm destroying like myself, and Shaitan is loving this stuff. So, and I know what you're saying. My wife left with my children, like on a train to her town, and I was alone for like 5 days here. And I just, first day, great. Finally, the kids are away. I can have some time for myself. Maybe I don't have to worry about the children screaming and stuff. Second day, third day, I'm like, this is not good. I'm getting to my old self, and I know myself. I'm not good alone. And I started having like weird thoughts. And then the longer, actually, by the end of that, I was just looking forward, like, even to have around myself my wife and my kids, because like I don't know how I did it before when I was living alone. Like even as Muslim or non-Muslim, but like when you're alone, it's difficult. Like when I have kids, I don't have time to think about anything. It's just I'm thinking about them. I'm a father. Like I can't be thinking about weird stuff. And they need to take a bath. I need to put them to bed. We need to cook
Hmm.
dinner, whatever. You're always doing something, and you're responsible for them. Your relationship, you're kind of like in a network of, and you're all
Hmm.
depending on each other, and it's great feeling. It's tough, it's difficult, but there's a reason why Allah's saying like have kids, because like it will help you, build great relationships which are you cannot build with friends, because the kids are with you forever, or forever, like they are in your life, right? So you see them from the moment they come into the world, and it's just crazy. I still remember when my son was like this, like a small thing, and now he's like speaking to me, watching me pray, and it's beautiful. Like he's making sajda. He's only 1 year and a half, and he knows when I'm praying. I make ikama, like Allahu Akbar, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, and he already knows like something is happening, and he comes to next to me, and that's beautiful feeling. Like I would never experience it alone. And but it's challenging. It's very challenging to be like a parent, like I'm not gonna lie. But it's just and on top of that, you have a community and some friends and brothers and sisters. That's really, and then the Juma and stuff. Really, it's a game changer. Like I, subhanallah, and especially since it's like specifically we all go through the same struggle, because it's a revered masjid. It's really strange because Yeah, I'm the imam, but most of the people are reverts there. Like it's usually when you're in the masjid in some city, it's like mostly immigrants and there's like two or three reverts or something like that. But this is the other way around, which makes it really unique. So the actual Arabs or whoever, they're actually minority, and the majority is like white Slovak people. Like it doesn't make any sense. But that's why it's so weird, and I like that, and it just gives me purpose also. So it's like if I didn't have that, if I didn't have my family, if I didn't have those things as like a buffer zone for
Mm.
shaitan, then I would be probably somewhere in the ditch.
Bro,
Like,
it's so crazy because Shaitan makes it towards like, oh no, that you need time to think. You need space to yourself to think.
mm,
And in reality, the only space that we really need to think is the time that we pray, maybe the time that we're working out, maybe we go for a walk, maybe we are, I don't know, just doing a little something where we have a little bit of extra time. Like we don't need as much time as we might think we do, as the waswas will say that we do. Because
yeah,
the more time that you have to think, the more you're going to overthink. And the more that you overthink, the more you start to identify with all the thoughts that are supposedly there. And if you have nine thoughts which are good, and then one thought which is really bad, but you're identifying with all the thoughts, I mean, you're done, bro.
yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
It's true, it's true. And I travel now like once a month. I was in London or in Poland or somewhere when I'm going on a business trip, and I'm like so careful in a hotel. I'm alone. So I'm like, I need to do something. Like I need to plan. I'm gonna go to the gym downstairs in the hotel. I need to then go outside. Like I cannot be alone in the hotel room. Like it's in and it's not allowed. Like I know myself. And it's like so difficult. It's just a couple of days, like 3 days somewhere or 4 days, 5 days in London. And I hate it to be honest. Like now I just can't be alone. I would rather have my wife there or someone. Um it's just yeah, it's a game changer really. But
Yes.
I guess not everybody has that, so I get that. But it's just yeah, subhanallah.
It's kind of like, yeah, we talk about it, but to be honest, I'm actually in that place right now where most of the time that I spend is by myself. Like I have a lot that I have going on. I have a lot that I'm doing. And to be fair, like the one thing that prevents me from spending time, like so much time with other people, is number one, the fact that I have deadlines for so many things that I have to accomplish. And then number two, the fact that I feel that many of the people around me, not all of them, some of them are very great, but many of the people around me is just, it's not the best company, right? So I'm in a situation right now where it's like I am like this, where I'm to myself and I'm trying to stay as like vigilant as possible, trying to be on point with everything. But it's like you said, or it's like we were saying here, like eventually you're going to start falling short. Like you could, I'll give you an example, right? I could set it as my intention to read the Quran every single day, to listen to the Quran every single day, to read stories about the companions and about the Prophet ﷺ every single day, to watch Islamic lectures, to learn more about Islam every single day. All right. My work, other studies, all this other stuff. Cool, cool. But it's the waswas that starts creeping in eventually.
Mm.
And we're talking about this, it's all great, like knowing that, yeah, you have to be with other people, but then it's like getting out of your own head to be able to do that and letting yourself do that, you know? Like that's the hard part, I would say.
You're back in the US, right?
At the moment, yeah, back in the US for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how your life is, but I have one recommendation for you that helped me, and the second one, like if I would be in the US, I would just make hijrah to New Jersey. It's like really cool Islamic centers, and there's a lot of shuyukh and like knowledge there. Also Detroit, it's like Muslim basically. So I would just do mini hijrah with my own thing, and build and just start knowing people in that area because it's easier than going to another country, maybe. But another thing is the time thing. A lot of people have this problem, like they're busy with work, and I'm also like I have a company I'm running and stuff. And recently I came across a concept of buying back your time. I'm not sure if you've heard of Dan Martell. He's not a Muslim, but he wrote a book, Buy Back Your Time, and Like it's really game changer for me. So really, I'm just outsourcing my time. So basically, I just mapped out all the tasks I'm doing that can be like outsourced, and I'm just buying 14 hours every week, 20 hours here. So I'm trading time for money, not money. I'm trading, wait, money for time, not
Yeah,
time for
money for
money. Yeah.
time. Mm.
And it's a completely different mind shift. You need some cash for that. You can do it if you're broke, but it's really cool because like you can actually at some point, like I'm in the morning, I'm reading for 3 hours when it's like the most productive thing. I'm just reading a book. Like actually, I'm reading a book on something in business, but still like I should be doing like sales calls or client calls or something, but I have people now for
Mm.
that. So it's like, alhamdulillah,
Mm.
like I don't have to do those things and my business runs without me. And whatever you're doing on YouTube or whatever your job is or your service is, you can still find people who can help you with those areas and just like emails and whatever, like takes a lot of time, man. And like doing laundry or
Yeah.
stuff, like all this stuff, if you put it away, you can get a lot of time back. And then you can
But
like,
it's what you just said, bro. It's
sorry.
literally what you just said that you're reading the book and in your head you're just like, oh, but I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Right? It's getting out of that stage. That's the hardest part
Right.
because it's counterintuitive almost.
It is, yeah. It's something you need to learn. I'm still not perfect, so I sometimes jump in, but I just have to learn to let go. And I think Dan he says like 80% done by somebody else is better than 100% by you, because you didn't do that. You didn't waste. You only have time in this life. You don't have money. You don't have nothing. Time.
Mhm.
So if you can buy back your time, it's more valuable. And that's how like millionaires, billionaires work. They don't do anything. They just buy back the time of and replace themselves from everything. Like Warren
Mhm.
Buffett just reads papers all day. Like he has 140,000 employees. Like I can't manage 15 of my employees and he has 140,000. So like how can we read newspapers? It's because he's smarter than me. So it's like it's really it's not a Muslim concept, but it's really cool. And I just have the excuse of I don't have time. I just don't have it anymore. I'm like, why don't I have time? What's taking up my time? Like I don't like to plan for my YouTube videos. Okay, maybe I'll have someone plan them out and I just shoot them now. And I just do just that one thing, shooting the video and just the editing, this, everybody else is doing it. And it's just, anyways, it's just a
No,
small.
no, no. It's a beautiful point, bro. And it, it's not a Muslim concept per se, but the Muslims used to do it themselves. I mean, just think about this for a second. You have the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's giving dawah for people to come to Islam. If he was the only person that gave the dawah, how much time would he have to be going hard with it? And then eventually, when he passed away, well, then it would have finished. The same as a business. If you're the only one that's putting 100% of the work and the effort, if you stop, then the whole business stops.
Yeah.
But when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was giving dawah and he was, people were coming to Islam, they were also learning, and then he was saying to them, give dawah as well. Like Allah says to give dawah, to spread the message, right? And then they started to take that on. They started to spread it and spread it and spread it and spread it. Now, bro, it's 1400 years later, we're still giving dawah. We're still spreading the message of Islam, right? So it's not a Muslim concept per se, but it's been there. It's a very like rudimentary type I wouldn't even say skill, it's just a process,
Mm.
you
That
know?
ties back to your Nia and your overall visions. Like, if my vision is, I love children, so I want to build an orphanage, let's say, for kids from Gaza in here, I don't know, refugees. Okay, how do I do it? I need $1 million for it. Okay, I don't have it. Okay, so I can make million, but I can't make it like right now. Like I'm too much in my business. I need to outsource myself. So whatever I'm doing, whatever email I'm sending, whatever sales call I'm doing, I'm always looking at that picture and thinking, okay, that's why I'm doing this sales call. It's not it's always to the ultimate vision. It's not why because Jan wants a house without riba. Yeah, that's fine. But that's different levels of dreams. And the ultimate one is the highest. And even that one email it's tied to that. So when you feel like, why am I doing this work? This is like you always have to think about that big vision and you have to plan it out. Like you have to have that big and then the Nia has to follow. So like, okay, if I want to do it and I keep myself in these administrative tasks, am I really achieving this goal? No, but for the sake of Allah, I'm going to outsource myself, not because I'm cool, but because I need to worry about the more complicated things, which not many people can. And then I might get closer and closer and closer. And in 5 years, we'll hit that goal. So I think if you have it like that, it ties back to your Nia, goes back here. The whole business can be great form of dawah, and even I have a Muslim employees now, and I can like do stuff which I would never think I could, and it's such a cool thing. But I have the overall vision, so even your regular non-Muslim stuff, like your boring work or whatever, you can still tie it back to Islam. But I didn't have it before, so I was just like making money for myself. It's just like it's not appealing to me anymore. It's just like yeah, that's cool, but like it doesn't make me excited. And now I'm really happy to work. So, but nothing changed. Like I'm just doing the same stuff I did before. It's
No
just I have a
different.
completely different outlook on why I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's just
no
I have
different.
a coach who told me that, like a Muslim guy, um, to like bring in the barakah from Allah. So you
Yeah,
remove any haram from the business, like the contractors you have. Maybe you're not paying on time their invoices. Maybe you're avoiding taxes. All of this has to be clean. All of this has to go halal. Even not just makruh, like completely halal. I'm not even talking riba here. That's another level. Just regular business conduct. How do
hmm
you treat your employees and stuff like that? Really, if you apply Islamic principles on that, you can then get the barakah from Allah in your business and multiply.
I was actually speaking to Imran, that one man. He said the same
I know
thing.
him. Yeah, I saw him on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a few questions, bro. First question I have is, how did you switch the reason why you were doing business? Because you said in the beginning you were doing it for yourself, which I mean that's kind of how like everyone starts, whether they have a job, whether they have business. They do it for themselves. They do it because they need money. They need to get out of this whatever position they're in. They need to, maybe they want a house, maybe they want a car, maybe they want to travel. I don't know what it is. Maybe they want a family, but they do it for themselves specifically.
Mhm.
How did you switch from that to, okay, now I have a bigger purpose that's bigger than myself?
Well, I'll struggle with it. Like, how will I tie my ultimate purpose, like something with Islam, into my life? And I thought, like, maybe the imam thing is my goal, or maybe I have to seek more knowledge, become like Sheikh somebody, or maybe. So I was trying to figure out where is my leverage that I can do better than other people, and that can like help more people than just regular YouTube dawah, which is nice, but that's not something that excites me. And the masjid opening and all that development is amazing. But I said like, and I was always struggling with my business because it wasn't tied to Islam at all. It was tied to me personally, and it will help me. Like I just, alhamdulillah, my house has been finished like yesterday with no riba.
Alhamdulillah.
I just need to finish interior, but it's subhanallah, it's crazy. So I'm gonna move soon. Same country, but just a different
Inshallah.
location. But I'm just worried, like, what's my purpose now? Like, what do I do now? Like, what's next? And it's just, I was thinking, like, how do I tie this business? Like, do I employ Muslims? That's not enough. And then I was like, my vision is too small. I'm thinking of making like $500,000. Why don't I make $50 million? But not for me, for the sake of Allah. Like I knew this concept like 10x, but I was just like, yeah, I'm thinking too small. Like so I talked to the business coaches, I paid for some advice, and I was like, is my business model scalable? Can I get to 10? And they said, yeah, you can get to 10 million. It's like, okay, that's a different game now. But if I'm not playing it for myself now. Because I was like, cool, I have this business, it's gonna make me six figures or something, and I'm gonna be cool and good life. Yeah, that's fine, that's for you. But if you want to help more people, you need more money. It's like most problems can be solved with money. Like most of my friends are struggling with money. And I'm always like, yeah, like make more. Like you're gonna be feeling easier. So I was just like, okay, so let's just have a vision of 10 million. Why have one or something? And that really changed it. So like to have 10, what would I do with that money? Like, is my business exitable? Like, can I sell it to like a private equity firm then? And so like, what would I do with the money? And that's when the business coach, the Islamic coach, said, okay, let's now think about this. Like, how will you distribute the money? What's gonna happen? And that's kind of the big thing. So that helped me like, okay, I'm aiming for that thing, not for myself. And I have a roadmap. I know how many clients I need to get to one, five, and 10. So it's in the process, and there's challenges every day, ups and downs. But I now have this like massive vision which goes beyond me, and I'm not even doing it for myself. I mean, it sounds corny. Maybe people will be like, "No, he's doing it for himself," but I'm like, "Okay, yes, maybe. I don't know. I don't really need much to be honest. I have one t-shirt. Like I have the same type of lifestyle I had when I was broke. I have now. Nothing changed, to be honest. I eat the same type of food. I don't know. Like I don't know
No,
what I think.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah. But the thing now excites me because before I didn't have a reason to make that much. Like it wouldn't like make any sense. But now it does, and I tied it to my local stuff plus international stuff. So I have big reason now, and yeah, I'm just seeking that baraka now, so I can multiply the efforts faster than I can on a regular business. Subhanallah.
So
But hey, maybe it's just in my head, maybe I'll. It's just.
I want to ask, but then again, like I feel like maybe this is a little like intimate and you don't want to reveal these things, but it's more so like how do you tie that to I'm doing this for the sake of Allah? Because I know what you mean and
Mhm.
I can only think for myself and man, sometimes it's difficult. When you're doing something, you say, yeah, I'm doing this for the sake of Allah, but then when you really get down to it, you're like, is it really for the sake of Allah?
Mm, yeah. Well, how do I explain this? I'm not sure. You have to, it's basically a cheat code. So basically, if you just do it for yourself, you're never gonna get baraka. Which means
Mm,
what is baraka? It means multiplying your efforts to create like from when our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam there was a battle and he just took like one ball and the whole battlefield ate from it. So there was like food for 5 people, but like 500 people ate from it. I think that's the story. I'm not sure exactly if I'm getting the details right, but it was like 100 times X because there was baraka in that bowl. So the small food could feed that many people. And so the cheat code that Muslims have in business is we have this baraka concept, which non-Muslims don't even understand. And it doesn't make sense to them, right? Because it's not based on logic, it's based on iman. And you believe Allah gives baraka to some places. And so if he doesn't give you barakah, that business will be actually like against you on the day of judgment. It can be like the reason you end up in a bad place because the money is not halal or something is not right about the business. And don't you want to have a business that's like blessed by Allah, that Allah likes, and he will
mm,
multiply, like, Uthman radiallahu an or Abu Bakr as-Sadiq. They were giant businessmen. Like he had like 1,000 camels or something, which is insane. And he just donated them in Medina. Like, or Abu Bakr gave everything. He gave everything and he left his kids with stones on the stomach, so they didn't even have food to eat. He was the richest man. So like, okay, these guys, so they were wealthy. They weren't rich. They were wealthy. They gave it away for the sake of Allah. Even Omar. So it's like, subhanallah, how can they reach those type of levels? Because they had complete conviction. And so the barakah just poured in. And the more barakah you have, basically, it's like the more you straight your finances, the more you kind of the contracts and finances, the more you fix that because it's broken usually. The more you fix your sales and relationships, the more you stop lying in your marketing and just be very honest. Like this can, and even like go against it, like conventional advice, the more baraka starts pouring in. Or maybe just like crazy sadaqah, 10K, whatever, drop somewhere. Like that 10K will be back in your account somehow in a week. I don't know how. And that's how you start. And basically over time, you can have so that baraka, if you tie it back to that goal, which is something for Islam, it will help you get there. If it's not there, if the goal is just for yourself, then there's no baraka. So it can be even kind of selfish. Like, yeah, I want to reach that goal because I need the baraka of Allah to reach it. I'm not going to reach it without baraka. It's impossible. So I need the help of Allah. How do I get the help of Allah? I need to seek His help in all these aspects of my business. So actually, because it's like I don't know the plan. Like, why am I having this thought of having this center? I don't even understand it. I just know I have to do it. Maybe, I don't know, my son will do something with it. Maybe it's gonna impact somebody else, but after my death, I just know this is something that I'm doing, but I don't even know if I'm doing it. Like I'm just
mm.
here and I'm just like, okay, this is worth dying for. And like, okay, this is my Nia now and I need the barakah of Allah. So even if I was cheating or if I was doing it for myself secretly somehow, I wouldn't get it probably. It has to be really pure. I don't know how to explain it to get it that pure, to be honest. But I just had such a broken. Nia for 6 years in my business. Not broken, but it wasn't solid. And I was not having proper solid contracts. I was having like funky stuff with withdrawals of cash, or like I would spend on dinner and I would put it as a business expense, and it's like, come on, man. And all these small things, this is not Baraka. If you do this, Baraka goes away. So think about everything. Do you buy that pen because you need it in business, or this? Are you paying your taxes, or are you trying to buy something to lower your tax rate? Like whatever you're doing, like Allah knows about it. So the more you say, no, I'm gonna pay more in taxes this year. I don't give a, I'm gonna do this more, and it's just gonna be much better. So that's how I look at it. It's connected to Baraka, and that
SubhanAllah.
ties back to the Nia. So it's impossible to have business without Baraka as a Muslim. Like it would be just like, I know I would feel bad even if I made like a lot of money. I would feel like, oh, nothing. Something is wrong. Maybe that money would destroy me. Maybe my wife would like break up with me, and like whatever. Something would happen wrong. I think that money would destroy me, and that would be like actually can be the reason of your destruction. So I just don't want the money to be the reason of my destruction, because what I made $1 million, and then it's gonna be like, yes, but what did you do with it? Like sit in your bank account, invest in stocks, great. Okay, here's Jan. Like no, I want to be like clean from that somehow. And of course, I also want something for myself, but oh, it's just I still have that need, but it's not that important to be honest. Like it's a secondary issue for me. If I was starting, maybe it would be different. I'm 7 years in. But if I would be in the first year, yes, I would be more thinking about myself because I'm thinking of rent or something, or I'm thinking of my expenses. But so I get that. And I get that it's impossible when you're starting to think of 10 million. Like, but that's where I'm at. Yeah.
So how are you keeping that Nia on point? Because I think that's like the hardest thing.
Yeah, yeah, you just need to educate most. Again, it's about knowledge. So learning from people who are actually kind of like alim of business knowledge. So they have some formal Islamic education, but they specialize in businesses and they've made like millions of dollars. And having them in some private mastermind groups advising you and like giving you examples of how this works is really powerful. And actually, that's really powerful because you can have a chef, but he never made money. So it's like, thanks, but how
Out of
do I tie it
touch,
back to my
you know?
materialistic world? I'm in the dunya, this is a testing ground. This is a gladiator place. Like, really, this is you either win or you lose. There's no third option. So, how do I
Precisely.
use the knowledge that the sheikh has in reality? That's difficult for me, but in between there are these guys, and then you need to pay them, of course, and they can help like transition that knowledge, like, okay, this is how you apply baraka, this is how you get blessing here, this is how you do here. And okay, you have this issue with, I don't know, like, let's say you have some employees somewhere and they have a problem in their life, something happened, like help them out. Like, let's say they have a problem with gambling or something, or they have a problem with their wife, find a lawyer for him or something, just for the sake of Allah,
Mm.
non-Muslim, whatever, it doesn't matter. And just help, like, stop caring about the business that much. And it's deep concepts. It's like you need like non-Muslim business logic to have a functioning business. It's impossible, like a regular, basically, education and understanding cash flow, sales, and all this. But then on top of that, if you put the Islamic business know-how,
No,
it's just
no.
it's crazy. And the guys
Subhanallah.
the guys are doing real estate without riba, tens of millions of dollars, and they are like, yeah, our intention was to show you that this can be done without riba, like own big buildings and stuff. Like, how is that possible? And they went from like in like 3 years from zero to that because of baraka. It's impossible. Like usually you would need like 20 years for that type of growth.
Hmm. Exactly.
So, yeah.
SubhanAllah. It reminds me of when I first got into Islam, I was big into martial arts. And I still love martial arts, but in the beginning when I first got into Islam, I wanted to be a professional fighter. Ego, bro, all ego. And I remember I was talking to many different scholars, and they were all saying the same thing. Oh, it's haram to strike the face, haram to strike the face, haram to do professional fighting. And I'm just like, bro, like you're not helping me out, bro. Like you're not giving me context. You're not like saying, okay, but in this situation here, I was like, didn't the Sahaba fight? Like, didn't they have to train? Because one of them was like, oh, it's haram to inflict damage upon your body. I was like, bro, how did the Sahaba train? Come on now. So I kept asking, and it was all out of touch. Anything they would say is like, yes, it was the truth. It was hadith, sunnah, but it was out of touch. Like I couldn't, it's like, how? Like it doesn't relate. Like I can't understand it. But then when I had actually people of knowledge who they've fought themselves, they told me like, listen, it's haram to strike the face. Like, sah, like, it is what it is. But if you're training, put a headpiece on and do light technical sparring because you're doing light technical sparring with a headpiece on. If any if any move, like any hit goes to the face, there's a headpiece and you're doing 10% of what your power is. So there's no damage. It's not a real strike. There's a difference between a strike and, oh, I'm training the movement pattern. That's all I'm doing. Because we could do 10% sparring. eh, I'm training everything that I would for a real fight. Because in a real fight, it's the same thing, but you're now at 100% versus 10%. So it was all I needed was just that simple breakdown from someone who's already been in that field and knows what they were talking about. They understood, yes, it's still haram, but here's the context. That's what I needed, bro. And like that's where you're saying that someone who's in business, they can give you that clarity in that aspect.
Well, it also ties back to fake knowledge. Like I would be very careful with like simple rulings. This is haram, this is halal. Okay, there's seven other levels in between, like what you're talking about. Probably you didn't go deep enough. Like, did you consider headgear? Did you consider this? That's when the madhabs come in and somebody says, okay, let me look at the evidence. What's your context? Because without it, you can really get into this simplistic Islamic advice like halal haram. But this is never how Islam was interpreted. There was always a
Yeah.
context. There was always like difference of opinion and all these things. And when there's a difference of opinion, you cannot say halal haram. There's difference of opinion. So you have to value and all of it like so that's why I think fiqh and madhabs are important in these practical matters because and people who make very easy and kind of simplistic fatwas or rulings typically just don't consider any context. They apply something that's from like China and they just put it here or like whatever. They mix different things. And no, you need like a local scholar with that background, with this and this to give you like a proper advice. Um, so I've learned that because I was also taking Islam very like simple. Like Islam is simple. Come on. And yeah, okay. Yes, Islam is simple for like if you are a farmer, okay, I'm gonna tell you what to do and make it halal haram, but you're not a farmer. You're living on YouTube. You need more context. You need like there's levels to this game. There's two types of makruh. There's this, and like is smoking haram? Well, depends what madhab you follow. Like and it's just like a crazy environment. There are things which are completely haram, but everybody knows. But like there's always some leeway where you have to be careful.
Mhm.
That's why I like
So,
fiqh as well. It's interesting.
so I guess I have one last question. I guess to tie it all together because we're nearing on like what is it like an hour and 10, hour and 20? I don't know how much time you have, so
Yeah, like 15 more minutes, 10. We'll see.
okay, inshallah. So question that I'm asking every single brother that I talk with. I guess sisters, but I don't talk to sisters. So based on what's going on in the world right now, would you agree that we are heading towards the end times? You would agree, right?
Mm, it depends like how fast. I guess of course we are,
Depends.
but it just depends like are we getting like
Exactly. We don't know
worse?
how fast.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
know how fast, right? But one can deduce that from what is happening, we're getting there. Something is bound to happen. The fact that what's happening in Palestine right now, it's it's been going on, but the way that it's happening right now, and then the almost the blind acceptance of so many people in the world, of so many nations,
Mm.
it shows the reality. Also, what's happening right now in Russia with Ukraine. and how US this guy ended up I don't know what the hell was that. He gave a green light for them to fire into because it's not a political conversation, right? But what I'm saying is that all this is happening. The end times could possibly be near. We don't know when it is. So my question to you is all the business is great. All the stuff they're doing for Islam right now is great. But if that situation were to come, right, and you would have to do your part. You would have to help out in one way, shape, or form your family, of course, but also the ummah. What is something that you have now that you can help with later, or what is something that you can start developing now that will essentially make you an asset if that time would ever come?
Yeah, I think I'm developing it. Some, I think like basically it's it's like people hate it, but basically the more money you have, the more influence you can have because money is like energy, and if you spend it, people start doing things. Like you can employ people, and now I have trucks coming and building a house. Like they wouldn't do it without money. So like I can just affect kind of small circles, but with more, you can affect more. So you can deploy that capital for whatever reasons, right? Like at some point, and this is what the other the other Zionist entities using, they have so much leverage on capital that they can just deploy it everywhere. And that's why they have so much power, and Muslims don't, because we don't have that much power and
Mhm.
we're bought up by them. So that's, I think, number one thing. I mean, it's not number one. This is just from my perspective. Could be because the other things, I'm not sure I can affect the ummah at large like that. I think I'm gonna be happy if I survive here. But I think my goal is also like to help the global ummah. But first, I want to take care of this small little thing, and then yeah, over time, I think could be, as I said, like the orphanage sounds cool. Like I would like to, like, these kids, they have nothing. Like really, it breaks my heart, especially if you have kids now. I hate children when they suffer, small kids, babies. Like that kills me. Like whoever kills a baby, like to me, is not a human. Like it's not Islamic concept, it's just my head. Like that's not cool. Like you have to go. Something has to happen. And so I would love to help them, like the orphans somehow. So maybe setting up something here where they can send them here and maybe have normal life. We can like raise them up in like a lot of, I don't know, whatever it is, something like that.
Mhm.
This is very far away from me. But it's the reality is like when Imam Mahdi comes, if that happens, uh,
Within our time.
there's gonna be majority munafiq in this ummah. This is gonna happen. They will fight him. So
SubhanAllah.
that's gonna happen. So like he's gonna come from, is it Mecca or Medina? One of those two places. I'm not sure where. He's born there, and maybe he's already born, but he's gonna come and he's not gonna be like welcomed. And that's when the true colors show. Like, and actually, yeah, majority will reject him or like will not want him. And that's why he's gonna have a revolution in that part of the world and transform society because, and so crazy stuff like they come in and they say, "What's your madhab? What's your akida, Imam Mahdi?" And then he's, come on, man. So this is if that type of stuff starts happening, you have to quickly recognize which side you are on. But
Have you seen the random people that just come out of nowhere and say like I am Imam Mahdi?
yeah, I
Some
know.
dude he's like
Come
he
on.
was born in like the Philippines or something like this and he's saying he's the Imam Mahdi.
Oh man. The thing is, he's not gonna announce himself. You're just gonna recognize him. So his name is Ahmed. He's from the Quraysh. No, he's not the Quraysh. Is he from the Quraysh? There's like a description
That
of.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the
He has a
details.
bloodline to the prophet. He is like all these things that takes. So like, and he's not gonna announce himself. You're gonna recognize him, and he's not a very. He's a practicing Muslim, but he's not the best. Like he's just gonna be
Mm,
regular Muslim, praying 5 times a day, just doing his normal thing. So it's gonna be
subhanallah.
interesting because you will not have to question if he's Imam Mahdi. You will just see, okay, this is it. It's time to go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's yeah.
You know what you just said? I had a brother on my new channel, Revert Mind, and he was saying that I don't know how true this is, right? But he was saying that they did a study and supposedly about 90% of the Muslim Ummah doesn't pray.
Crazy.
Allahu alam if that's true or not. But I mean, the evidence is there, right? It would make sense because you go into a lot of these countries and you don't really see them praying. You go to the mosque, you see like three people, five people, and then it's sad, but even the ones that are there praying, like they're probably doing things behind closed doors, sadly. May Allah protect us all. May Allah allow us to be free from all these things and allow us to be proper Muslims. But it's just crazy that if that's what it is now, then what you're saying about when the Imam Mahdi comes and the majority of the Muslims are going to be Munafiq, bro, that's insane, actually.
Yeah. It's actually a good place to be a Revert because you don't have this baggage or you don't have this mindset. You just want to follow the truth. So I think for us it's a bit different, but the people who are, you know, in those countries or I don't know, brought up in different ways, they will have issues. And
Yeah.
but it just comes back to like this place is a test, like whatever. Don't expect Islam to be perfect here, like Muslims perfect, like fighting, bloodshed, gladiator place. This is survival. Allah is looking for the best of the best. He's not looking for everybody to join him in Jannah. So subhanallah. And when I had this dream, I like I felt akhirah and I felt like I'm in eternity. And that feeling, although I cannot recollect it, it's you're gonna forget about your life instantly, like 1 second gone. Like I don't even remember my dunya. It was half a day.
SubhanAllah.
And now here comes the real one. So that's gonna happen to you so fast. Like I'm telling you, like if I was there, but I just had the feeling like, and it's crazy. Like it's just that I cannot explain it, but there's this reality which if you experience it, you'll just okay, I want to be here, forget this place. This is not cool.
Mhm.
And it's just a different place. So like there you will see the results and essentially we can never forget like this is the real life that's waiting for us, not this one. Like yes, there will be struggle, there will be munafiks, there will be all these kind of problems in our lives. Maybe we'll have bad children, who knows? Like I cannot be responsible for all of this. I just know
Mhm.
I need to die correctly because I know this is an afternoon. I know this is a
Mhm.
coffee break. you know
SubhanAllah. It would be very interesting if we got a Muslim who's a born Muslim in one of these countries and just all three of us talk.
yeah, could be. I don't
Because then it's like you're getting the perspective from reverts, but like getting a perspective from a revert from one side of the world, a revert from another side of the world, and then a born Muslim from this place, like an actual Muslim country. And then if we had another born Muslim, but from the West or something like that, that would be, bro, like it would just be so good to like see the different point of views, why they came to this point in their lives, why they believe the way they believe, why they practice the way they practice. Like,
yeah.
what are the nuances? Why is it that reverts they tend to be like more like on point with it, whereas born Muslims like they had it from the beginning. They should be more on point than us. They
Mm,
should be like worlds ahead of us.
yeah.
Yeah, why is it that reverts they for some reason, bro, I have how many conversations I have with people and they're like, "Oh, you're a revert, you're better than me." And I'm like, "No, but I don't think I'm better than you." But then they start explaining it. I'm like, "Oh, I see. I don't think I'm better than you still, but I can see why you would say something like that now."
I think it goes back to the way they were brought up. Islam was never like explained to them. So they just took it as a culture or like we took Christianity or whatever. And it's not the same. So it's a responsibility of their parents really that did a bad job, I guess. Anyways, I don't know. I'm not a born Muslim, so
Allahu A'lam, bro. Allah knows best.
yeah, yeah.
Anyways, man, with that being said,
Cool. Let's catch up maybe whatever, email me and then yeah, I have a question if you don't mind. Just last one, quick one. What happened with the three Muslims? I haven't seen more episodes or something. Is it like what's going on?
it's we plan one thing, Allah plans another. We have two episodes left to air,
Okay.
which it's I don't know what's been going on. It just kind of we've all had like a lot going on in our lives,
Mm.
but we're gonna make an effort to get these two last podcasts out, and then from there, I will probably do a stream just to kind of wrap it up, kind of tell people like, look, this is the new direction here, just so that and people are not left in the dark, because I feel
I
like people have
remember
been
when
in
you
the dark.
started. I remember your first show because I watched it as a non-Muslim, so that's why I remember it.
So
Because you were like really fresh. Like 2 months after you, I came in, and I watched the first one where I think Rami explained like why God exists or something like basic.
yeah, I
It
think
was
that was
like
like the second or the first
yeah.
one, bro.
I remember like it was like really bad phone or like really bad quality, and so
Yeah.
I don't know. I just have funny memories. But I was still living in Prague back then. So yeah,
SubhanAllah, man, that those first few episodes were filmed in this exact room right here.
mashallah.
Yeah. But like I said, man, Allah has his plan. We plan one thing, Allah plans another. So
Yeah, makes sense.
it could be that what Allah wanted us to do, we fulfilled that. You know? Allah knows best.
Inshallah. Well, Jazakallah khair for the interview and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's see you in a few
Wa
years.
alaikum
Few
salam wa rahmatullahi
days.
wa barakatuh, bro.
All right. See you. Thanks for the chat.
Yeah, take care, brother.